I talked about the ultimate expression of people like me. And that is being driven largely through micro creators. I
Yeah.
can't remember the last time I bought makeup without looking at somebody who looks like me,
Sure.
is of my age,
And that's a great
wearing
thing.
it.
You
It
find
takes a
those people.
lot.
Well, I think you're actually starting to see this quite often. It's like I always use the original model of Revolve. Revolve built their entire business off of creators
Yep.
that then turned into affiliate deals, that then turned into product line. And you are seeing that now. You're starting to see like Levi's just announced a creator network. Claire's announced creator networks. Like they are sort of doubling down on taking certain people that function as brand ambassadors
Yeah.
for them and have their own audiences. And they're staying with those people because they represent their brand values. They know the types of content they'll create. They're including them in the content and letting them help be part of the process. This notion.
It's really easy to tell when a creator is really behind the product and loves it and is an actual user versus just doing the ad for the sake of
Right.
doing an ad, right? So there's a lot of bad creator executions out there. So really being selective with who you work with is just so key.
And I think where we've seen success is where they see it as a cultural partnership. So really tapping into either a niche audience that they want to reach, or they are kind of wanting to do something in a culture space to drive an agenda.
So, I mean, us on the media team, we're all about reaching audiences. And so if a creator has a following that reaches the audience that we're trying to target, we will lean into that. And we've done it on a very, I would say, select basis to date, but we're actually building out a content and earned media team within our team to focus on that because we do think it's a big opportunity.
It's become very reliant on understanding not just who a creator is, but who they reach, right? Like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it was very focused on who an influencer was. Now our job is really quantifying them as a media channel and saying, not only does Mike reach these individuals, but we understand how he impacts them and where he resonates with them, etc. The data depth and everything that is needed is light years ahead of where it was even a few years ago.
YouTube is a place where you can create mass reach, or you can create a meaningful scale against audiences using very intimate, even micro creators. There's
Of like, let's do this deal with this one person who's like maybe a flash in the pants, right? That is still hard to scale, right? You're not going to be like, oh, we did this one thing and it's a mega or a
Right,
micro.
so just crank that up. Yeah,
that's right. But I do think these notions of like brands like Zara, brands like who create these back end affiliates and then bring that up the funnel.
Sometimes you have to understand what a micro will get you, or somebody that reaches a small niche like micro community. That's CES. That was the biggest buzzword, right? You had like micro communities and how you tapped into those. Now, subscriber bases are growing. Influencers are, especially on YouTube, not just entertainment vehicles, but they're media channels themselves. Mr. Beast is a great example.
They're creating brands.
They're their own brands. Absolutely. They have their own merchandise now.
Yeah.
Right? Like they merchandise themselves. They package themselves out there as you would an individual sponsored entertainer. Like that is a big step. So we may activate 15 micro, nano, like scaled influencers, or you could go after 2, 3, 4, 5 of the multi-millions of subscriber counts. And YouTube's a very specific growing space for that as well.
It's not a case of just scattering reach around and trying to hope that it sticks. You've got to be relevant to be able to be authentic and show up in these spaces with these creators.
Yeah.
So I do think that like the brands that do it well can create this stable of people that they can go back to over and over again. And then you create sort of that repeatability. You start conditioning. And then that does become a performance channel for you.
Right. Creator selection is so key, right? And a lot of the back and forth that we normally have with a brand is, why do you want to access Mr. Beast? And he's a great talent, right? But that comes with both a price premium, and it also comes with an understanding of how he represents your brand. And I think that is a combination of like head versus heart, where a Mr. Beast has a huge audience base. But if you're really looking to access and kind of use an influencer as a way to inject a brand into a conversation, somebody else that might have a smaller audience is a good way to test that narrative and build that brand. And then you amplify with all the great tools that are out there now you can pay amplify a lot of that content. So it's a balance, but I think we're seeing more and more people ask the right questions around how to kind of create guardrails versus driving the car for that influencer.
For us, authenticity is number one. It's kind of the first and foremost filter, I think. I think when you get into like big scaled creators, you can certainly look at them as their own media company. And
Right,
in some
like that
cases,
can be just a place to put pre-rolls and that's it.
of
Yeah.
course. In some cases, they're their own product companies now because they're
Yeah.
all launching products, like
Yeah.
what Mr. Beast is doing. But for us, a really, really good influencer or creator partnership should go probably deeper than just a pre-roll or a mid-roll.
A lot of
Right.
work, but it's so worth it. If you can create that intimate experience and this sense of personalization and walk away from the notion that only quote unquote mass media and mass reach has the power to move brand love. I mean, that is incredible. Like, we have to do it.